You are listening to the Daily Gospel Reflections with Sister Cloth. This podcast is brought to you by the Paulines Multimedia. It is our mission to bring the Word of God to all peoples through sounds and images, voices, and music. Come and join us as we share with you a thought a day. A reading from St. John's Gospel, chapter 11, and lifting some verses from 1 to 45. The sisters of Lazarus sent word to Jesus saying, "Master, the one you love is ill." When Jesus heard this, he said, "This illness is not to end in death, but is for the glory of God, that the Son of God may be glorified through it." Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that he was ill, he remained for 2 days in the place where he was. Then after this, he said to his disciples, "Let us go back to Judea." When Jesus arrived, he found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went to meet him, but Mary sat at home. Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you." Jesus said to her, "Your brother will rise." Martha said to him, "I know he will rise in the resurrection on the last day." Jesus told her, "I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, even if he dies, will live. And everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this?" She said to him, "Yes, Lord. I have come to believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, the one who is coming into the world." When she had said this, she went and called her sister Mary secretly, saying, "The teacher is here and is asking for you." As soon as she heard this, she rose quickly and went to him. For Jesus had not yet come into the village, but was still where Martha had met him. So when the Jews who were with her in the house comforting her saw Mary get up quickly and go out, they followed her, presuming that she was going to the tomb to weep there. When Mary came to where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet and said to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who had come with her weeping, he became perturbed and deeply troubled and said, "Where have you laid him?" They said to him, "Sir, come and see." And Jesus wept. So the Jews said, "See how he loved him." But some of them said, "Could not the one who opened the eyes of the blind man have done something so that this man would not have died?" So Jesus, perturbed again, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone lay across it. Jesus said, "Take away the stone." Martha, the dead man's sister, said to him, "Lord, by now there will be a stench. He had been dead for 4 days." Jesus said to her, "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" So they took away the stone. And Jesus raised his eyes and said, "Father, I thank you for hearing me. I know that you always hear me. But because of the crowd here, I have said this, that they may believe that you sent me." And when he had said this, he cried out in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." The dead man came out, tied hand and foot with burial bands, and his face was wrapped in a cloth. So Jesus said to them, "Untie him and let him go." Now many of the Jews who had come to Mary and seen what he had done began to believe in him. Welcome back to our Lenten Reflections. Today we have a long account of the death of Lazarus. It is said that Jesus loved Lazarus and his two sisters very much, and that when he learned that he had been dead for 4 days, Jesus wept. We all heard what happened. Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, and this, according to Bible history, was the greatest of all the miracles that Jesus performed. But before he did this, we heard the dialogue between Martha and Jesus, and later with Mary. What did Martha say? "If you had been here, my brother would not have died. But I know that even now, whatever you ask of God, He will grant you." But Jesus replied, "Your brother will rise again." Martha replied, "I know he will rise again at the resurrection on the last day." But Jesus said, "I am the resurrection and the life. If anyone believes in me, even though he dies, he will live. And whoever lives and believes in me will never die." Do you believe this? The profession of faith by Martha and Mary moved Jesus' heart. After praying to the Father, he called out to Lazarus to rise from the dead and told those around to unbind him and let him go free. Is there anyone out there drowning in utter hopelessness and losing heart because even your personal prayer seems so arid and meaningless? I guess many of us have been there. We sincerely search for God, but He remains silent for so long. Is there a way out of this pit of darkness and be freed from this shackle of despair? Today's gospel brings home again the message that to God nothing is impossible if we have faith and if we put all our trust in God who can do all things. It may sound crazy, but just keep on talking. God will listen. Believe that He is there, and His presence is enough assurance and consolation. Let's come to think of this. Be with us again tomorrow as we share with you a thought a day. Meanwhile, you can follow us and listen to other Apple and Google podcasts on Spotify, produced by Paulines Multimedia. Have a good day.